Praveen Sethupathi is an associate professor of biomedical sciences and director of the Center for Genomics at Cornell University, with a focus on genomic approaches to understand human health and disease. He received his BA from Cornell University and his PhD in genomics from the University of Pennsylvania. After completing a postdoctoral fellowship at the National Human Genome Research Institute under the mentorship of Dr. Francis Collins, he moved in 2011 to the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill as an assistant professor in the Department of Genetics. The same year, he was selected by Genome Technology as one of the nation's top 25 rising young investigators in genomics. In 2017, he returned to Cornell University as an associate professor and well-respected author and co-author in over 90 peer-reviewed scientific journals. A recent recognition includes the Faculty Merit Award for outstanding teaching and mentoring.
As a scientist, I'm firmly committed to the pursuit of empirical knowledge. On the other hand, I'm also a person of deep faith in Christ and in truths that I believe science alone cannot illuminate. I've committed my life to both science and faith. I was raised as a practicing Hindu for the first 18 years of my life. I appreciated the richness of the faith, and I felt deeply connected to it culturally. But it wasn't until my freshman year of college that I realized I didn't really know much about it as a belief system to live by. I had gone through the motions of the rituals of the faith and was deeply familiar with its traditions and stories, but I realized that I had no idea about what it meant to me personally. I hadn't really stopped to think about it. So I embarked on an ambitious endeavor to read the Hindu scriptures. And over time, as I learned more about Hinduism, I became curious about how its truth claims compared to those of other faith traditions, including Buddhism and Islam and Christianity. At first, stripped of Christ himself, the precepts and traditions of Christianity were no more or less compelling to me than those of other faiths. But the person of Jesus stood apart. He's the supposed hero of the story, and yet he appears naked and disfigured and even pathetic, dying on a cross. It wasn't much like the superhero Krishna or the valiant warrior Muhammad to whom I had become accustomed. Their power kind of appealed to me. But one of the first things I would learn is that in the cross, Jesus was turning upside down my notions of power. He wasn't on the cross, it turns out, because he was powerless to stop it. He was on the cross because that's precisely how he chose to exercise his power, to lay his life down solely for the sake of others. His expression of power was devoid of any kind of self-interest or self-promotion. I'd never seen or read anything like it before. Today, as a Christian, one who claims to follow in the ways of Christ, I'm also called to live for the benefit of others, to serve as a minister of reconciliation. I don't always live up to that calling, but it really does shape the way that I think about who I am. There's a widespread and growing sentiment in our nation today that science and faith are at odds. As a scientist and as a Christian, I have a unique opportunity to help mend this brokenness, to rebuild the trust. This matters a great deal to me because I believe that this false dichotomy of God or science has robbed us of our joy in God's creation. I believe that because science and faith are both means by which we come to know God, if we forsake one for the other, then we're left limping when we could be